Steve Turk just started with us. Ryan Tomaso. Ryan is actually kind of laid off at the moment because he went back to college to finish. He won't be back until August. That would be a rate I'd like to bring him back in August at. He's going to work with us for a year or two, and possibly and beyond, I don't know, but he's going to try to play a little bit. Also, Ryan Tomaso, Steve Turk, Tony Manziel or Anthony Manziel, and then Jacob. These are part-time positions, anywhere from 15 to 25 hours a week. Jacob is actually going to graduate college here and probably going to move back to Michigan. So we'll be losing Jacob, and we won't have Ryan for most of the rest of the year until August. I think these wages are in line with what's being paid out there right now, maybe even a little bit lower than what's being paid out there right now. But I think that this would be a welcome add, and the positions of, like when Jacob leaves, we'll still have a position that we could hire in at $16 an hour. That wouldn't be too bad. None of these positions besides Clark's are tipped. The reason why I didn't put the other guys on there is because they're tipped positions for the most part, and most of the starters and rangers, cost of living increase at the end of the beginning of the fiscal year would probably suffice for them, and they're basically working for golf, and a little bit of money, and the rest of everybody else is a tip position, and those tip guys are doing pretty well for themselves. So.
Jeff, one question about Peyton. Did she took the test for the food services?
She did. She's the food manager she works. I don't know if anybody knows, but she works at Duffy's a couple days a week, as well as working pretty much 40 plus hours for us. And she's pretty knowledgeable in food service, and she took the test, and she's the quote unquote service manager for the food for the girls. They all have to take an online test. It's about 80 questions about food service and how to properly handle things and so forth and so on.
But she had to have a license because we need one.
Yeah, we had to have one.
Okay, so she has that.
She does.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. It's about probably $46,000 increase with payroll, taxes, so forth and so on. It's a little bit more than what we budgeted and expected, but the current economy is kind of calling for this. I mean, $16 an hour starting wage at McDonald's.
Well, I'd like to, I think we need to do it so that we don't lose any more people.
Before we make a vote.
Well, let's make a motion in a second and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
I make a motion that we increase these. In a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Any questions? Phil, you're on.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think this is certainly warranted of giving all of these service people cost of living increases. Probably haven't done it in a while. I don't know where we are and how long it's been since we've given them raises, but everybody's feeling it right now. I guess my only question would be, is there a way to cover the cost of this increase with more receivables with the golf? Like some of the events that we annually do, can we raise them a buck or two a player and things like that?
One of the things I want to bring up later is, with the end of quote-unquote season coming up in the next 2 months, I want to make sure that we put out to all our groups and leagues that we're going to have an increase of probably $10 a round. Let them know early, hey, look, for next season, if you're looking to come back here, you're going to go from your normal 80 to 90 or 85 to 95 when, even the resident needs to go up some, probably $5 there, $10 there, to be more in line as to what we want to make rack rate, because I'm going to go up another $10 on the rack rate, because I know people saying, wow, but we're getting that, like we have people calling for next Tuesday, today, and there's no tee times available for them.
Yep.
I mean, so the cost, that's the way economics works. Demand's there, raise the price for them.
Yeah.
So if we,
So yes, to answer your question, yes,
Yeah.
we will work. We are working hard to make sure, and I think if you look at the financials, we're achieving that goal now.
Yeah.
And I think that we will continue to raise our rate and make sure we're at the max.
So all of that should more than increase that cost,
Yeah, it'll cover this.
more than cover this
More
cost.
than
You're talking about $130,000 over a year, so roughly $3 around
Yeah.
to cover these labor costs, but everything else is going up along the way.
It's 127.
The range alone will cover the cost, this 40 something. You look at the range year to date, I think it's double what it was.
Oh, yeah. We're way over.
And that's got to do with the LECO closing
Yeah.
more than anything.
Right.
Well, as a resident, and I'm sure I can speak for all you guys, I propose we don't increase the cost of residents' costs.
I'm with Phil.
Right? We can make it up on events that are coming in and your group stuff. So let's keep the residents as low as possible since.
So range bed will cover residents.
What's that?
50 cents a bed, fully range.
We went from 8 to 9, we've gone from 8 to 9 to 10, and what I'm proposing with this later, we'll talk about this Whittick range ball dispenser, which should be able to more than cover the cost. So,
Yeah.
the rate decision is up to you guys, but, we start talking about going up, usually talk about going up across the board, so.
Well, and I will say that the other reason that the rate was just kept low is because of the bond that the residents are paying
Right.
for golf course. And that was the original intent, to keep the resident rate low because they were paying the $325 for the bond.
Prior to the bond, there was not a resident rate.
Right.
And the bond,
You can
the
do
bond for the
Eagle card or
residents,
something like that. but
and the bond for the residents
Resident
ends on 2023.
So that's something we need to think about. And yes, Joe, I'd like it to go down, the resident rate.
Well, that would be great. I don't know what the percentage of resident play there is to outside play. Do you have any idea?
Probably about 7 to 10%.
That's it?
Yeah, there's not a lot of resident labor per se.
Well, we definitely shouldn't raise the fee on the residents if that's the case.
Yeah.
We could easily make it up on events.
Right.
Okay.
And it's our decision.
No, that's fine. And I think it's something that we just need to keep,
I would like to play more. My wife only gives me so much allowance, so.
How many annual passes have been sold
You mean like, and,
for membership?
probably 10 or 11.
That's all?
Yeah, now here's the questions come up about that. So, we currently charge $47.50 for a single and $62.50 for a couple. So what I would propose to you guys for 20, 22, 23 is we keep that rate for the resident and we go up 10% on that for the outside. Because I've had a few residents ask me, why don't you discount it? I think initially, when we did it, it was at such a rate that and it still is if they do the math, that it's cheaper to pay as you go as a resident, but certain residents would just like to have that, I'm a member, or, and I tell them, well, it's not really a member, it's an annual pass. You're not really a member, because the bond states in it.
Can't have it.
Can't have a membership. We can sell an annual pass.
Well, that makes sense too.
yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
that's a fair deal.
Yeah.
So we'll go up 10% on what we charge outside, and we'll keep them at the current rate.
Because you never know, and I don't think we're ever going to assess anybody again, but,
Well, you never know.
So we,
knock on wood.
for
Yeah.
people out there at home, we just switched gears. We were talking about employee payroll increasing, and now we're talking about range passes. Just FYI.
Okay, so, and Phil brought up the fact that we need to raise receivables to cover
Right.
this. So that's where it went, so.
Yeah.
Just
Sorry,
saying,
we're
I
down
could
that
see
hole.
somebody out there being confused. Wait, we were just talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah, we went from
labor
A to B.
increase, and now we've gone to B. Yeah.
So, does any other board member have a comment about the increase for the staff? Okay. All those in favor of the proposed increase? Opposed? Okay. Jeff, you can let Crosby know, let the staff know, and let Crosby know.
Made some very happy kids.
Okay. If only the board could get a raise. Yeah, that's not bad.
If you have an election. Don't three of you just have to agree on it? Don't you just have to make a motion and three of
Yeah,
you
we
have to
could
agree?
just vote on that. couldn't we?
No,
No, we can't because it's governed.
that's state statute.
That's a state.
Okay, next thing, I gave you a little bit of a breakdown in Excel of where we at for February through yesterday. So starting today, we're about 84,000 short of budget, which we're averaging about 17 to 20,000 a day. There's 6 days left in the month. You can do the math. I mean, we should be at budget or over it by the end of the month, which will be terrific because we did have some weather this month that's kind of slowed play a little bit. But the 10-day forecast is for
Beautiful weather.
Chamber of Commerce weather.
Nice.
In your booklet,
Section 3.
which was interesting, they never asked me for something before. That was kind of cool. I got in a booklet. I didn't have to kill 3 trees. So Phil Olive had called me about 2 months ago and asked me about the after-hours range balls, and have we ever considered using a ball dispenser, and we had, and it was never seemed cost-effective. But I would say since the closing of Alico, it has become more of a cost-effective thing. I think that we could actually close the shop at 5 o'clock and have a outside ball dispenser with credit card swipe that we could use, and I think we could sell after-hours range balls between 5 and 8 o'clock. So I went to the 2 companies that I know about. One is Easy Picker, located here in Lehigh Acres, and the other one is Whittick out of Illinois. We bought our ball cleaner from Easy Picker about 5 years ago. It has been nothing but trouble since the moment we got it. I've been overwhelmed with it. I talked to him briefly, and then I went to Whittick, and the prices are very, very, very similar. Actually, Whittick is a little cheaper. So what I'm proposing to you guys is we just buy this Whittick. There's going to be some additional added cost to this with buying tokens and baskets. We've never had baskets before. We've always used bags. We'll need baskets. We'll need tokens. We'll probably have some cost involved in getting the electric set up to it. And then we have to find the proper location. I need to talk to you about that. Probably somewhere right around the tent because there's electric there. But I think this is a smart move. I think we should do this. I think this can add revenues. I think actually this will probably add the revenues to cover your costs with your staff wages increase that this gave us.
I agree.
Do we need tokens?
Is that for the inside people to sell the token to go out and get them
Yeah,
themselves?
so
That's a mistake.
well, how would they get them?
Just swipe
Use a
card.
card.
That's it.
So they don't
The
go.
problem is,
they
the
don't
problem
go.
I had in my business when we did it, people took the tokens home. We were out of tokens all the time.
So
It's always an option.
so in other
I'm
words,
just saying, just use a credit
just so
card.
I understand. So they're going to come in and say, I need range balls, and say, yeah, it's right out there.
Yeah.
And all they do is swipe their own card, and then
Yep.
we don't.
Or cash, make
Yeah,
sure it takes
you don't have
both,
to- You
right?
don't have to do anything in the pro shop.
Just fill up the machine.
It's the same thing as a token
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I didn't think about it that way.
All right, Jeff, let's
Because I'm
start.
so used to seeing tokens, I didn't.
Yeah.
Let's start it that way. If it comes to be an issue and people want them, then we can do that after the fact rather than putting the money up front first.
Well, and we're not gonna be, I mean, if we're gonna have it out till 8, nobody's gonna be here from probably about 7 to 8, right? So
Yeah,
you're gonna,
but-
how they,
Well, like, some of the women will come in, and there won't be.
Yeah, they'll fill it up. The
Yeah,
guys will fill it
well,
up.
I'm just saying, so when like the patrons come out to get hit balls from 7 to 8, we're not gonna have any staff here to like,
No, no.
you know, hey, how would I?
It would have both
Park
options.
guys are usually here till dark.
Yeah.
No matter what, because you got twilight golfers that go out, and twilight golfers stay until dark.
That's true. So cash and credit on the machine, yeah.
So
During the day, just like it is now?
Do you just walk up to it, or no, you probably just walk up to the machine and pay it, yeah,
Pay
pay
the
for it.
machine.
If you ever went to Alico, you got your code inside. It would just simply be swiping your credit card instead of putting a code in and put your basket underneath.
Has to give them their own card.
Or just still do both. So if they come through the pro shop to pay for their round and want range balls, you have some there, but if they're just coming to hit balls, it's outside.
Yeah.
When I had it, we bought 1,000 tokens. By the end of every summer, we had none.
Yeah, I could see that.
Shouldn't have made them out of silver.
So are you talking about eliminating selling them in the, no longer having the bags in the clubhouse at all? It's just,
Yeah.
everything runs through the machine.
That's what I would like. Yeah.
That's what you would like. So hours-wise, it wouldn't matter. I mean, you could be there, if the sun rises at 6 a.m.,
You could be there at 6 o'clock in the morning
a.m.
involved.
using your
Yep.
credit card.
As long as it was full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The machine holds 8,000 golf balls. So
And
it
the
sounds
lights-
like a lot, but trust me,
Right.
Go through them pretty quickly.
right.
Well, we hope we run out of them every day.
And the lights,
Be a good problem.
Yes.
ton of lights.
Jeff, this doesn't clean them as well, right? It just,
No.
yeah, dispenses, okay.
But we will have to set up a morning, like, no range before, for us, you know what I mean?
Oh, right, because you need.
Just say, no range before 7 a.m. or 6:45 or something, because some of these guys, you know, they get there, they're sitting in that parking lot, and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen them hang out around the garbage can up there underneath the breezeway, and I'm like, man.
Like raccoons.
Yeah. I thought they were employees at first, you know, waiting for somebody to unlock the door.
Elizabeth, you had a question?
Yeah, just, now is that going to be a purchase or a lease?
And we'll purchase it.
A purchase, so do you think the location of it by the tent and the weather elements is going to be okay for it, or should it be, usually they're
Might be covered.
under the building?
It'll be covered.
Might be covered. We might have to build a cover for it, like a lean-to
Like a
cover.
little shed, something.
I don't know, well,
Yeah, it's usually they're protected.
that's, John and me will talk about it. There's no real place to put it indoors, per se. I mean, we don't have a lot of room up there. I don't know, you know, like,
Yeah, you don't have enough
We don't
space
have
in that
enough
covered
space.
area.
you know, we can move the ice and water machine and put it right there by the snack bar, I guess, but
Well, let's look at it, but with
that would be,
I'm thinking the best spot for it would be down by the range.
Yeah, but.
Don't make them carry a ball, have it down by the range, right there up against the curb. You walk up, you buy, and you walk right to the range. Keep everything
if we have to build something around it, then. we
build,
can-
I mean, and then with that being said, I'd probably say make it more towards the middle of the range, so there's not a too far walking distance from either
as long as we
point.
have electric and we're
And
gonna,
we got the electric there, yeah. But then, and I understand, that's a good point about protecting it from the sun. I don't know what they're, you know, rated for outdoors, but there's gonna be irrigation coming on. So you don't want that irrigation just blasting this brand new ball washer, you know, or ball machine, ball dispensary.
What's the footprint of this, Jeff? How big is it?
About 4x4 maybe, just
Yeah, I think
for
like
base and probably,
4x6, I think.
Well, let's get the measurements, and you guys look to see where the best location, where we have everything that we need for it,
yeah.
and then determine what we need to protect it.
Just please make it look, cohesive.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Not a fan of the starter shack at all.
Definitely.
Can I have a motion?
Make a motion,
Second.
Make a motion to purchase it.
purchase the Whittick
I'll second.
ball washer
Any other questions from the
Well-
board?
dispenser.
I have a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jeff, you're on.
All right, we will buy one Whittick ball dispenser, and I'll talk to him about all kinds of options. If I have anything that I think might be questionable, I will contact you guys and say, hey, what do you think?
All right.
And we'll roll from there. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Because if, you know, and here's the other thing, wishful thinkingly, if the purchase of the building goes through and we redo the shop, now we can take range balls out of the shop. We don't have to deal with wet bags and that mess, and we can take that out of the shop.
Right. It would be really nice.
These guys just gotta fill up that machine, that's the only issue.
Yeah, that's.
On the payment wise, as far as we're paying for a bag of balls, you think it's almost like a car wash. You can drive up to it, swipe a credit card, and get your car washed, or you can go inside when you pay for your gas and they give you a slip and it's got a code on it, you can punch a code in.
That's a good, I like.
So that seems like that might be a way that you
what
got
we
a
had on
golfer, I would like to pay for my round of golf and I want a bag of balls. And you can still do it in the clubhouse. You
On
get
the
a
receipt.
receipt with a
Give a
code,
receipt.
boom, 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 and you're good to go.
Just gotta make sure that model
Well,
has that
that's the way
capability.
But imagine
Alico,
that technology exists.
well, Alico had that.
Yeah.
You just
Oh,
punched in the
Alico
numbers.
did.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Rather than a token.
Dispensers, okay.
Huh?
Whatever happened to their dispensers? I gotta call Craig.
The dispenser's a mess.
I don't really talk to perverts.
Okay,
Pedophile.
we'll move on from
Should
that.
we consider hiring someone just to take care of the range?
Well, that would be something for 2022, 23 that I've talked to Dan Clark about, is due to the volume of the range, we probably need to hire one or two employees that all they do is pick and fill the machine, and
Pick and
pick and
clean
fill the
and fill.
machine, and pick and fill the machine.
Clean it here.
Having two guys shift cart guys with all that has been, tough for them. I mean, this would actually be a little bit easier, but still, I think the eventuality is we probably need independent range employees,
Power off.
say. So 2022, 23.
Well, let's look at it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay.
Other than that, nothing much going on. I would like to tell you guys about a fun event we're going to have in June. The National Deaf Foundation is playing their Southeastern Championship here. So there's going to be 90 to 120 deaf golfers here for 3 days. The 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and they'll be playing their practice rounds on the 20th. That Monday, you got to be open. You're normally closed. You open on that.
Oh, that's, what day is it?
It's like a 20th, I think, 20th of June.
That's a day after Father's Day.
The day after.
It's not an airification day, is it?
No.
No, then yeah, you're fine.
It's a week before there.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So, yeah, so that's fun. They've been calling and talking to me for a couple months, and they're super excited. So, time of year we don't really have that many players. It's a nice event.
Good.
And that's all I have.
And a reminder, we are closed one day next month for our Fipronil app and
What day are you
pre-emergent.
closed?
It's March, let me see my calendar.
I have my calendar.
I think maybe the 14th, 15th. It's the second Tuesday, I believe, of the month.
Second Tuesday would be the 15th.
That'd be the 15th.
I think it's the 15th, yeah. It's on the master calendar.
Okay, all right.
It's already, I just,
What was that for, John?
that's for our Fipronil application for mole crickets and then fire ants and stuff, and then our pre-emergent at the same time. I'm trying to, that's why we closed doing both at the same time and not shut down the course at two different times.
Okay.
And we are already starting to see some, which is kind of odd because we've had a pretty cool winter respectively. I mean, like I said before, this is typically the type of winter we usually have down here I grew up with, but in the last 10 years, by far, this has been our coldest. And we're already starting to see some pressure from mole crickets already. I noticed some on the baseball fields, around some cart path areas, so.
Off the third hole?
Off the 38, it's starting 4 cart path, yeah, they're starting, so definitely need to attack them, get on them. That's all I got to.
Okay, the update on the landscape committee, I've been speaking with Brian, who is our new contact, and Juniper, and he's putting stuff together. Hopefully we'll have something probably for the next meeting that we can discuss. We'll get the committee together first so that we can look at it before we present it. But I'll let the committee know. So they're moving along nicely with that, so they've got some really good ideas. So, John, speaking of landscaping, real quickly, for the spring, when you do the next flowers, what are you going to put in?
We're going to put in the same kind of flower except different colors. We're going to go with spring colors. It'll be like a, and a good example of it is if you head east on Corkscrew and look at the second, Wild Blue has a small neighborhood. I forget the name of it. I go past this. I go past it every day. That's terrible. And they have some nice flowers out there. It'll be like the purples and violets, and it'll be like just those are the same flowers. They're going to be those colors and probably a couple more. There'll probably be like some light orange in there and some whites.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but you're not going to do a purple, you're going to mix them all
It'll be all
together?
mixed. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be like a springtime.
Okay, and they'll do okay in the summer?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I I think that'll look nice, because the Southeast did not do well last year.
No.
I did have one thing I forgot.
Okay.
The Village of Estero and the tent.
Oh, the tent, the permit.
So Calusa Tent Rental's been helping, or they've basically done it. I kept Tony in the loop with it. I think we've got the paperwork into them as of yesterday. They need a letter of permission for us to put our tent on our own property.
Okay.
Permission granted.
Yeah, anyway, and here's where the rub comes with this for me with the village. When we put that tent in, the intent of the tent, obviously was to have somewhere to be outside for our bigger groups, and, the Chicago guys bought it because they wanted to have it, and we were renting a tent, and the village, when I talked to them, I said, well, we're doing something for COVID. It's, an outdoor area to be seated for COVID. And I thought that the permit was, till COVID was over. Well, apparently the village has declared COVID over. National news might tell you a little something different, and you might think a little something different yourself, but according to, what do you call it, the CDC, it's not over. So, I find it quite ironic that, and I'll say this into the camera in case any of those people that are working for the village are watching, I find it quite ironic that the village of Estero thinks it's bigger than the national government.
Just saying.
Just saying. I must say something right here too. You can hear me real loud and clear. I dealt with a lot of city governments, and I think a lot of people in this room would have never voted for a village of Estero if they knew the way you guys conduct your business.
Thank you.
I want to know.
With that being said, are we going to have to buy or pay for a permit every year?
According to what they're saying, every 2 months.
How much? We got to repay for a new permit?
Every 2 months.
How much?
Yeah, I was like $55.
But still, that's...
It's the principle of the thing. Tony, is there any way we can make it more of a permanent structure kind of thing?
Well, I'm sure, I've not looked at the land development code. I'm sure they consider it a temporary use permit, and therefore, as a temporary use permit, that's probably what the duration comes from, maybe not the structure, but I can check into it. I'm sure that's what the nature of it is. Because if you're going to do a more permanent structure, you probably need to apply for a development order and a building permit and all those other kind of, and maybe a limited development order. Is that a fair statement, Chuck? Mm-hmm. Yeah, based upon our experiences. I know, I agree, but, so that's probably what they probably characterize it as a temporary use permit or temporary event.
There are thousands, literally thousands of golf courses across this country that use tents. Country clubs use tents for weddings. They use them for events. All over the country is a common practice. I don't understand where the village finds it in their bellywick to tell us as a private, not a private, but as a
Privately owned
privately owned business owned by this community, how we can conduct our business.
Good, bad, or indifferent, they'd probably say seven.
I know.
Life, health, safety, welfare issues. I'm going to be having a conversation with Mary Gibbs anyways with regards to the 4.42 acres or acreage up front with regards to getting a zoning verification letter. So I'll just chat with her about that generally.
Okay.
Or maybe Derek. Derek's the village council. Or maybe I'll track down Bert Saunders or David Williams. I'll start off with David. It's always good to...
Don't tell him to talk to me.
Oh.
Anyway.
I won't tell them that.
No.
Would it
scenario,
behoove us
every 2
as a
months,
board
every
to petition them, send a letter, something?
What might be helpful is first, if I can, I'll have a conversation with Mary and understand the rationale. Then what also might be helpful if you have other organizations similarly situated, as opposed to just one sort of constituent with an issue. That might be more helpful. Say, listen, can you, when next time you amend your code, can you put this something in it on more of a less temporary basis? Not have to go through a full-blown, because part of the argument, I'm not saying I agree with it, part of the argument for requiring development order site plans is to address issues such as parking, ingress, egress, all those life safety, health
They should
issues.
figure out the ingress and egress out of the corner there.
Well, that's for another day.
Touche.
Maybe they can, maybe there's something in the land development code that has a shorter distance for right in, right out. I don't know. But I'll talk with Mary about it.
And then if you
Jeff,
think,
when I talk with them about the ZBL,
Yeah, that'd be great.
and if you
Thank
think
you, I
we need to
appreciate
send a
that.
letter
I will
from
let
the
you know.
board? Okay.
Yeah, I will be, I'll try the little softer approach.
Well,
Now that you've brought it.
Well, you know, what,
Initially.
I guess my question really is the beef. I mean, certainly, we've all dealt with local governments, we are one, and so it's not uncommon to have a permit,
yeah,
right?
that's no problem.
Are you talking duration of permit, price, both? The fact that we have to do it every 2 months?
You
or-
know, just give us a price to have it up for, because, you know, we take it down.
Seasonally.
We take it down during hurricane season.
So we
put
have it up for 9 months out of the year?
9 months out of the year. What would be the permit cost? One cost, this is a permit, it runs from October 15th to
July
June-
31st.
You know, whatever, July 15th, or
Whatever,
'Cause it
whatever.
sounds like from what you're saying, cost is what, roughly?
$330 a year.
Yeah,
Or
so,
less than that if we don't
I
do.
mean, we don't have to pull it for those months. I mean, it's more of the principle, like, you got to go through all the steps again, too, like,
yeah, I'm with you. I
know, like,
understand what
Fire
you're saying, so-
code or
and
everything.
Calusa's been great. I mean, Calusa, because, you know, I need to be pulling a permit from the city like I need a hole in my head right now. And I went to Calusa and I go, look, I need your help. I don't really understand some of this, what they need. You guys know? And they're like, oh yeah, we got this.
Jeff, when you talk to Calusa again, ask them if they have other areas that put up a tent on a temporary basis like this and what their issues are. So maybe we can go back and say, well, this town doesn't do it. They have, you know, it's considered a permanent except during hurricane season. You could just ask them if there's, so that way we would have
I will do
something
that.
else. Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that way we can say, okay, cool.
And I think the CDC is deferring to local governments.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think, I'm pretty sure that's the call.
They're not sure.
But exactly. But
Yeah,
I agree with, I agree with that too. I do believe the federal government is looking at more of just deferring to local governments.
Yeah, do what you want.
Right.
Okay.
That's nice.
Alrighty. Update on the purchase of the building. Tony?
There are a number of items, many moving parts.
Okay.
The comments and the objections to title are due next Tuesday, the 1st. Keep forgetting February is a short month. I've been going through the thousands of pages of various documents and reviewing the survey as well, and I will send a letter out to tackle any title objections. Also the survey, I've reviewed the survey, there are a couple of items on there I'll make note of also.
Okay.
What I also need to do is verify, and the surveyor has also trying to contact the village with regards to setbacks, to make sure everything's kosher. Interestingly enough, that when, according to the surveyor, who I've known for a long time, when their planning staff of the engineering firm contacted the village about the setbacks, one of the comments was, well, that building was first approved by Lee County, you gotta go ask the Lee County folks as to what the setback. I'm thinking, okay, so how do they know the building meets the setbacks today if they'd have, anyways, I thought it was kind of interesting, so they're going to pursue it a bit more. And again, there are just the exceptions, you don't want to see what they all are, it's kind of entertaining reading if you have nothing else to do and want to go to sleep. Again, the survey seems just to have a couple little items, nothing really major. Universal Engineering was retained to do the inspection due diligence, and I sent an email out to them this morning asking what the status is on that. That's the inspection of the building.
That was the structural. and the-
Right, yeah, the site conditions, the physical, the environmental. So I'll send an email out to Chuck, and then he can advise the board as to the status of Universal Engineering.
Tony, real quick, is there a site plan when they did the, oh my God, why am I, this word is evading me right now, the surveyors? Did they give you a topography with the actual, because I know that pad next to our car guys is in question about.
If you want a copy of it, John, I'll send you a survey, it's a
Please.
PDF. And I imposed on the architects upstairs to print it out in a 24 by 36. You don't want this one because you can't read my scribbles. But, well, afterwards, if you want to chat about it.
Please, absolutely, thank you.
Again, ignore all my markings and all the
Sure.
little fun stuff that's on there. But are you talking the brick pavers on the parcel that the district owns?
No, it's a little pad, actually.
The golf cart parking pad that's leased? That's
Yeah.
shown on here.
That's shown on there as part of Duffy's property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's.
Because when you look at LIPA, their lines, when you look at their property, they're offset and,
Yeah, the fence between the two, where the district has its pavers to the west, the fence is totally on the district property, not on the Duffy parcel. Again, if you want to look at it later, and I can send you a PDF that you can then
Perfect, that would be
expand and
great.
blow up and everything else. Yeah, they do, Tim DeVries, who's a surveyor, does a nice job. And he's a Grady Minor, who's a good planning engineering firm.
Concrete pad is definitely in there.
Yeah, so, again, we'll chat after and again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll send it to you so you don't see all my illegible handwriting on there. So I will, and what I also need to do, I talked to Mary Gibbs, is get his zoning verification letter. And that's one of the things Chuck and I were briefly chatting as to what the intended use ultimately would be for this property. There's a schedule of uses, and there was a prior zoning verification letter when TAC bought it many years ago. And the schedule of uses are, it says accessory uses and structures, administrative offices, country clubs. And then accessory to that country club use is consumption on premises, food and beverage service, golf course maintenance facility, health club or spa, a restaurant, specialty retail, golf and tennis equipment. And then dwelling units, entrance gates. I mean, this is all the uses within the zoning. So I just want to make sure that if the board or the community wants to have a different use than, I'll call it a country club use, whether that's even allowed today or not, or whether that's something that would require a zoning change or something else.
you probably want the broadest spectrum you could have,
Yeah,
right?
so I guess that's a question. I know there's some talk about like a community center, recreation center generally, or some
Well,
other.
they're talking about building a new community center
Okay,
over
we're here.
here. So that would not be what that building would be technically used for. But down the road, if we opted, if Duffy's chose not to renew, and we wanted to do a country club, I don't know. I mean,
Country
so I
club might be
would-
an allowable use, so what I'll do, I'll talk to Mary Gibbs just generally,
Okay.
and then also chat with you about, get the broadest range of uses, and then,
Yeah.
have Jeff and John on the call also.
Tony, it's a little out of left field, but
Nothing's on left field on this stuff.
years ago, we tried to get a liquor license, and part of the liquor license problem was, I think, according to Ben Council, was the fact we didn't own the building, and there's a multiple liquor license, Duffy's has a liquor license.
Yes, they have consumption on premises, I believe.
Yeah, so will that change if we have ownership of the building, and if you zone differently, would we be able to, because, we would like to be able to serve liquor on the golf course, and
That's the golfers.
that's a pretty good